I'm Dani Thompson and you are watching the Carlisle Cult Cinema Club. Please head over to our Facebook page and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, PD, back with another Carlisle Cult Cinema Club Presents. And this week I'm joined by the beautiful Dani Thompson, born in Penrith, Australia. Penrith's just up the road from me in Carlisle. Well, the English Penrith, should I say. Moved to Norwich, England when she was just a young age. Dani now lives over in the northeast and is known as an model and actress who works mainly in the horror genre. Dani worked as a model, appearing mostly in the British lads' mags and newspapers before going to the International School of Screen Acting to do a postgrad diploma in screen acting in 2010. She runs a vegan lifestyle blog called The Vegan Vamp and was Miss British Isles in 2005. She writes a diary column for Gorefest magazine, is an animal rights activist and sometimes works with PETA, and has an impressive 92 credits on IMDb, 23 upcoming, 64 actress, 6 as a producer, 4 as a writer, 4 as a director. Welcome, the delectable Dani Thompson.
Thank you. That was quite an introduction. I feel like a lot of that stuff's like no longer existent. Like the vegan blog's gone. I don't write for the magazine anymore. I'd like a magazine column somewhere, but that was a while ago. And the vegan vamp, that kind of went in lockdown because I was reviewing places and it was kind of, I couldn't really go anywhere. And there was only so many recipes I could cook at the time. So some of that's like old news, but it's nice to hear it brought up again. I was like, oh, I did do that.
People can go, I'm sure these places will still be up and running. They can go and check these out because it's the internet, nothing dies forever. So go and check out Dani's old blogs.
I still have recipes on I think I've got a bit on my website where there are still some recipes. So.
Check out Dani's website as well. Dani's also got a calendar for sale, the 2024 calendar. So 2025, sorry, calendar. I'm thinking we're in 2024 now.
Yeah.
2025 calendar. So get yourselves that bought. I've already put a link up on the page, and I'll do another one as well.
Thanks.
So you can buy that. I'll put a link with the podcast. So get yourselves Dani's calendar. And what's this year's theme, Dani?
This year, so I haven't shot it yet. This year, I'm going to do a kind of lingerie cosplay of some kind of well-known horror characters. So I'm definitely going to do something Beetlejuicy. There'll be Scream will be in there. I've got some ideas. I've got a list of things I can cover. I'm just pulling together props and costumes and things at the moment, and then I will shoot before the month is up, actually. So it will be shot in October, and then I have to design the calendar. I do it all myself. So all of the actual artwork's done, and then I send it off to the printers, and then they do their bit. So it has to all be done really by the end of October, so I can get them ordered in November, ready for people to obviously receive in December.
Yeah, get the Christmas present. That's it. Get your Christmas presents in. You know,
Yes.
what I mean? If you like your horror sexy, Dani's calendar is the one for you. So I'll put a link when I put the podcast out, so you can pre-order it. And yeah, all good. Right, so you're a bit of a triple threat. Model, singer, now director. Is it hard juggling everything? And as I see how active you are on social media as well.
Not really, because I mean, I think for some actresses, they have day jobs as well, and they have to kind of do all of these things, but I've kind of made it a full-time thing. So I feel like they all kind of lend to each other. So it all kind of, you know, if I'm modeling, I'm tending to do kind of horror stuff now. And then obviously I can use that for my acting work. So no, I do have very full days. I'm busy, but I managed to squeeze everything in. I mean, singing, I don't really. That was just for fun, really. So I haven't got anything in the pipeline at the moment. I think we would like to do another album, but it needs writing, so it's going to be the way.
What style would that be? Would it be?
See, I got a really eclectic taste in music, but the producer I work with, he's quite electro. So we've got kind of an electro pop sound, really, I think. It's like, he said, it's like if Kylie was naughty, if Kylie went bad. So yeah, it's kind of like electro pop rock. really. But I'm personally like I like so many different styles of music. I like really old kind of 50s stuff, and I've got more of an indie taster. I do like cheesy pop. Cheesy pop's fun to sing along to. So
I mean, I was in an electro pop group back in the late 90s.
were you?
I was a singer, believe it or not. I
Ah.
was slim and svelte back then. And, you, I was there was an advert. Well, there was a review that described me looking like Angel, so I ran with it.
Angel, as in the vampire.
From Buffy, yeah.
Wow. We've been watching that actually. We were watching some last night. We started from season one again.
Oh, very good. I mean, I didn't personally, I couldn't see it, but you know, it was the Goths loved us. We played Whitby and everything,
Oh,
and the Goths loved us. So I was like, that's what they said. I'm gonna go with it.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean, yeah, he's not a bad person to look like.
no, it isn't at all. You wouldn't think that now with the beard and all the chub on us, like, but
Well,
you know,
I've seen him recently, and I think they're dyeing his hair for a TV show he's on. But then it's kind of they're dyeing it. He's obviously grey, but they're dyeing it, and it's going a little injury. And I was like, he should just leave it. I think when men age, they should just leave it. Like it just looks better to be natural.
I'd say I used to dye my hair up until about 10, 11 years ago. And my hair just got in an absolute mess, so I shaved it all off.
Yeah, I think men can age gracefully, and they will look distinguished.
Yes,
It
I think,
works.
yeah. Well, I think women can as well, as long as they don't get loads of plastic surgery done.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't think any of us want to age gracefully.
Well, what age disgracefully, I don't know. But,
Yeah.
so I've got to ask you. We've chatted before, and you said you were more a scream princess. Are you now taking on that scream queen that you thoroughly deserve?
Well, do you know what? I think I've probably done enough now. Still not. I don't know. I still feel like it's not for me to say, but I probably have done enough now, and I'm old, so I feel like I can graduate into the queendom.
I wouldn't say you were old, and you've certainly done enough horror films to, I mean, some of the lasses who get that Scream Queen title haven't done as many as you. So
That's true.
certainly earned that title of Scream Queen. Um, but no, I can remember us chatting, and the first time you said you were more of a princess, but that was over 2 years ago now. So
Okay, see, a lot happens in 2 years.
that's it. That very true. How was it directing British horror legend Judy Matheson in Dragon? Your part in the anthology Horoscopes Volume 2, Chinese Horoscopes.
Well, I met Judy at I think I met her at a convention, but then we did the Festival of Fantastic Films together a couple of years ago in Manchester. And I think there was a train strike. I was still living in London at the time. There was a train strike, so they got us a driver to take us both there. And we really bonded in the car journey. It was like a few hours to Manchester. And then we had a whole weekend together, and we just got on so well. So she was always like, write something for me. And I was like, when I got asked to do the second part of Horoscopes, I was like, right, what can I come up with? And then like in my head, I was like, I want to do something that Judy can do. I wasn't going to be in it at all. I've got a tiny part in it just because then I wanted to have some screen time with her. But she was so fun to work with. I mean, we get on really well anyway. We're really good friends. So it was just lovely to be able to work with her.
Have you worked with any of the other kind of classic British?
No, I'm in a couple of films with Caroline Munro, but we've never had screen time together. And I think Martine Rezic narrated Saturnalia, or oh no, she narrated Cowgirls versus Pterodactyls, and then she plays a voice in Saturnalia, which is Joshua Kennedy film, and her and him are very good friends. And so again, we're kind of in the same things, but haven't had any screen time together.
I think you should write a film and get us all together in one film.
I feel like that should happen.
I do as well.
I feel like that should definitely happen.
While all of these ladies like Caroline Munro, Madeline Smith, Martine Beswick, and while we're all still about, get them all in a film. I'm sure.
Yeah, I've written a feature film actually, and there's scope to have like little cameos from a few people like that, and I'd love to have them in, but again, I need the budget for the movie, so that's a way off, I think.
Always the hardest thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ideas are well, they're not the easy thing, but compared to getting the money, I can imagine, you know what I mean?
That's it. Once you've got the funding, everything else is easy.
Once you've got the money and the go ahead, it's just like, right, let's get everything together and let's go. 2024, it's been a bit of a busy year for you so far. You've released 7 films this year.
Have I?
Well, that's according to IMDb.
Okay, what's been released this year? Let's see how well IMDb have got this.
I'm just going to pull the page up, and we'll see.
Because IMDb fib.
Well, you know something? I can imagine that. You know, they're supposed to be the go-to place, aren't they?
They are, but the thing is, anybody can input stuff. So I mean, I don't know what's been released this year. I mean, filming wise, I've done a little bit this year. I haven't had this super busy year.
Right, so let's have a look what it says here for you. Filmography. I've never done live on it. Pulled up someone's IMDb. So this is the first. It's Saint Mosaic.
Okay, okay, so it's not been released. It's been screened. It's screened at Horror on Sea in January.
Yeah.
So by release, they mean it's kind of out there in the universe now. It's finished, but it hasn't actually got a release yet.
IMDb put them up as soon as something's been screened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Blood Demon.
Yes, again, that's been screened at a few different festivals, but you can't get your hands on it yet.
Burnt Flowers, I know that's not released properly, but it's due.
Well, that's part of, oh yeah. Yes, again, it's been screened. It's screened at Horror on Sea. It's here at Horror on Sea. I did have about 7 films screened at Horror on Sea this year.
Could be all of these then. Obviously, your own short Dragon, which is going to be in Horoscopes of Horror.
Screened at Horror on Sea.
Horror on Sea. One Night Rental.
Okay, so that I think they've had a couple of screenings, but I went to a screening in Derby for that one. So they had a big cinema screening in Derby, which was really fun at the Quad. That was a super fun film actually, and they're talking about doing a sequel. I've seen a script.
Oh well, there we go. You've heard it here. One Night Rental due anytime soon, and there's a possible sequel. Mannequin.
It's finished apparently. I haven't seen it. I don't know. It hasn't been screened anyway yet.
Right, and Good Neighbours.
Good Neighbours. I haven't seen it, and I've been sent a link to watch it, and I still haven't watched it. But that I shot this year, so they've done a really quick turnaround. We shot that in, I want to say March or maybe March or April. No, probably March. So from March they've finished it.
Oh well, that's quite quick then. That is a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
So that was shot down on the south coast, and I was still living in Scotland at the time. So it was like an 8-hour drive or something. So I ended up breaking up. I went to Norfolk on the way and stopped at my mum's for a few days, and then did the same on the way back. So I made it a bit of a road trip. But it was it was lovely actually. They put me in a little really cute Airbnb like apartment, and I ended up actually writing my script for Hunger while I was there, because I had a couple of days in between filming, too far to, come back to Scotland and then go back down. So I was like locked in this Airbnb, and it was like torrential rain for a few days. So I was like, well, I can't really go anywhere. It's not beach weather. I went to the beach one morning where it was dry. And so I just sat locked away with a bottle of Prosecco and wrote Hunger.
There we go. Prosecco. It's always a winner, isn't it?
It makes me creative. That's my excuse.
Most folk could say, I sat down with a joint, it makes us creative.
Right.
That is having to Prosecco, it makes us creative. I like that.
It does. I always have a glass of Prosecco when I'm writing a script.
So I've got tasks. So some of those that were on IMDb haven't been released, just screened this year, folks. So, but there is a multitude of Dani films out there, and one of them was one of our films of the year last year, I've got to say. Video Shop Tales of Terror. What an absolute cracking film! Which is going to be my first film on for Halloween.
So if you can hear howling right now, my neighbour's got two poodles, and just every like once a day, I think she puts them outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's proper like Halloween sounds. The garden's just outside my window, and yeah, there's two poodles howling outside. Oh, they've stopped now.
No, I was trying to listen there, but no, I couldn't hear it. My dogs might go off if anybody knocks on the door. I've got two French poodles, French bulldogs.
Mhm.
One of them just barks if anybody comes anywhere near the front door.
Well, my
But
kids are behaving right now. I think one's asleep underneath the sofa I'm sitting on, one's on the end. So this is rare.
well, hopefully they don't do zoomies. Mind you, it could be interesting if they do.
It could be. It's usually she climbs the curtains and then she's hanging at the top of the curtains looking at you. And there's nowhere else she can go from that. She's just like, I made it before you could catch me.
That's it. And then they jump down and you think, what?
Yeah, but I've literally just like we moved in here in April. I've renovated, everything is new, and now my curtains have holes in them. Little holes.
You'll be getting new curtains once they've grown up a little bit.
Yeah. I will be.
Too heavy to do it.
Yeah.
Um, so you were in the girl group Hex with
Short-lived.
pardon?
It was a short-lived girl group.
I was going to say, are you still in contact? I knew I was going to get to that. Are you still in contact with the girls and would
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I mean, we're still great friends, but we all live in completely different places. So the three of us met on the set of Mannequin, and we got on really well. Like I played the baddie in that, they played friends. And so my character is actually really awful to both of them. But we were camping. We filmed that down in Grantham on a mannequin farm. There was a campsite opposite. We all camped, and I had my little dog with me that I had at the time. And so we bonded like off camera. So although I was really horrible to them on camera, off camera, people were like living on pot noodles and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Give me the food budget because I was in makeup and first because I had all this full body makeup and they'd like wrapped me early. So I was like, I can go to the supermarket, buy actual food. And we had this little kitchen. We had like two hobs, that was it. But I was like, I can cater properly and everyone will have like a proper evening meal. So at least they've got one properly cooked meal. So and then each of the girls would like come with me sometimes and do the shopping and then they'd help me cook. And we really bonded over like our dinner times. We had this big like farmhouse table. There'd be like 10 people around the table. So we ended up really, really good friends. And then we had lockdown. But because we all lived in different places, we'd like try and like meet up somewhere in the middle when you were allowed to meet up outside and go on hikes. And so, but we just live so far away. Like I've moved to the northeast now. So I'm northeast coast. One of them basically lives on the south coast, and one of them's Essex. So we don't get together that often.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. But you never know in the future what may happen.
It's not. Yeah, I mean we're still friends. It's not like we've disbanded. It's just that we haven't really got anything to record, and we're not near each other.
Talking of recording, how did your album do, Vam?
It did okay. And we would, we'd like to do a second one, and I might have a bit more input in the second one with the writing, but it's just time. I mean, I think this year for me has been all moving house. Like I sold my house, my place in London, my apartment, like last year in August, and then I hadn't bought anywhere yet, so I was in between like homes, and I was like staying with a friend and staying with another friend and trying to find somewhere to buy. And then when we finally did, we realized like how much more work there was to do. So, I mean, the walls, like I've kept some of the vintage wallpaper in here in the living room, but I mean, it was like an old person had lived here and it hadn't been decorated since, I don't know, like the 60s. And then another room would be like from the 80s. But we found some incredible wallpaper, like taking the layers off. I found this purple floral, like 70s wallpaper. Like if I could have saved a wall of that, I would have kept it, but we couldn't save it. But it was like, everything needed doing. And then I'd been here a week, so we'd ripped everything out. We'd ripped up all the carpets, and my friend was like, oh, you know what, I can do a rewire while we're here. So that's another massive amount of work. And then I went off to Texas. So I was like, well, while you're doing that, I'm going to Texas because I've got some films to do. And then I got back and it was another couple of months before we could actually move in. So this year's been like super hectic, but it's not been like work hectic. It's been mostly moving in, decorating, settling down hectic.
life hectic.
Yeah, so like the music we just haven't got time to do, but I think we will do some more probably next year.
And you're a vegan.
I am.
You know you've co-hosted sustainability events for
Yes.
Green Vegan Film Festival back in 2019.
Mhm.
What else do you promote with being a vegan? I know you do menus and recipes and all
Yeah,
that kind
I
of
mean, it's just my lifestyle. I don't kind of try and tell other people how to live their lives. For a little while though, I did have the Vegan Vamp as a blog, and I was posting recipes. I was, reviewing restaurants, going to like vegan events. Obviously, I lived in London there, so there was a lot more events. Like you'd have the Vegan Life live show, and then obviously lockdown again happened, and it was like, well, I can't go to anything. There's only so many recipes I can cook. Like I'd have to really be eating something different every day to post constant content. So I took it down. Well, I didn't actually take it down. I switched it over. So in lockdown, I actually started training in Reiki and crystal healing and sound therapy. So I've switched it over to kind of a holistic lifestyle website with my business, but I haven't reset up my business since I've moved either. So I've been in limbo this year with loads of things. But yeah, I mean, I still post the odd recipe if I go to somewhere that's got good vegan options on my Instagram, but I don't kind of push it anymore.
thing. That was just I had to obviously cater for all the vegans who might be listening, so I thought I'd get that in there. um, you've appeared in two films where your character dies being strangled by Santa.
Yes, I do.
A Nightmare on 34th Street. Would you do any more Christmas horror films planned? And how would it be strangled by Santa twice?
I love a Christmas horror film.
Yeah.
So Black Christmas, I'd seen the remake before I'd seen the original, which is probably like a sin, isn't it? Like, but a lot of the films that are from the 70s, 80s, I've seen the remakes for the originals because I was still too young in the 80s to watch horror. So anything from like before then, I will have seen the remakes first. But yeah, I love a good Christmas. I love Christmas. Like, although I love Halloween, I also love Christmas. My neighbor, she's actually decorated for Christmas. So last week, so we're still in September last week, and I bumped into her outside. Well, she'd actually collected some of my mail for me because I wasn't home. So she came over and said, "Oh, I've got your parcel." And she's like, "Just before you think I'm crazy, I just want to let you know that I'm decorating for Christmas." And I was like, "That's cool. I decorated for Halloween in October. Like it's fine." But her Christmas tree looks lovely. So when I walk past the house, it actually does look lovely. But no, I totally do another horror film. Christmas Day we got over in Bulgaria. And I'm sure that was 2013, 2014, a long time ago now. And it was lovely. Like it was actually set in Scotland, but to guarantee the snow, that's why we shot in Bulgaria in like a little log cabin. And it was super fun. I don't know, like festivities. I mean, we shot in February, so it was like out of Christmas season. But who doesn't love Christmas?
Well, this is it. Who doesn't love Christmas? I think you're a bit of a Grinch if you don't.
Yeah, and like being strangled by Santa. And the first one was Frank Jakeman, I think. And that was fun. That was fine. And the second one, I can't remember who the Santa was. Oh, it was Jeff Christensen, I think. Was he Santa? Possibly. So yeah, I mean, I think one strangled me with some tinsel. Might just have strangled me with its hands or something. I don't remember. I mean, we shot that again a long time ago, Nightmare on 34th Street, but I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's released yet.
Right. Well, according to IMDb, it is so, but who knows with IMDb? One of your favourite films is The Wizard of Oz, and why The Wonderful Wizard of Oz? If you see what I did there.
I did see that. I've always loved The Wizard of Oz. It's just magical, isn't it? And I think it's the first film I really remember watching. So I never used to get sick when I was a kid, and so I never got a day off school. And I think one day my mum bought it on video or VHS, and she bought some sweets from the garage, and then took me off school for the day, and we had like a duvet day. Watched Wizard of Oz and ate sweets, and I think just from watching it the first time, it's got the witches and it's got like the sparkly witch and the songs, and I don't know, I just loved it.
Oh,
I mean, I haven't watched it this year. We've got all the way to October, and I've actually not watched it so far this year. But usually, I'd have watched it like 8 times by now.
I've got to ask you: have you ever watched The Dark Side of Oz?
No, is that the album by? No.
the Pink Floyd's Dark
Oh,
Side of the Moon. Oh, and I've watched it umpteen times, and it does sink in.
does it?
Especially the first run of the album sinks in so well. Do you know the bit where Dorothy's on the fence?
Yeah.
The song goes "Get the Balance Right," and then she falls in, and there's a part of the song where it just goes all crazy. And that when she falls in, that part of the song goes because they're all panicking to get her. It is excellent.
So are you supposed to put the film on silent and then play the album at the same time? Is that what's meant to happen?
It's the Lion's third row.
Right.
You're on the MGM sign.
Yeah.
The third row of the Lion, you press play on Dark Side.
Hmm. I think I'm going to have to get this album and I'll have to do this.
I think it might be on YouTube. I'll have a look and I'll send you the link.
Okay. Oh,
The,
where they've mixed it together.
Yeah.
That would be easier.
I mean, I've got it myself. I bought a bootleg many years ago of it, and I've shocked people with how good it is. And I put it on, and make sure you've had a few drinks because I think that helps as well.
I'm doing it by October, October, just in the gym. I'll have to watch it next month when I'm back to normal.
Back to normal. But yeah, it's a fantastic version of the film. It changes, it darkens the film.
Oh, well, that's quite exciting. I think it's quite horrifying anyway, the film, isn't it? I mean, it's quite scary. You've got the witches and those flying monkeys are terrifying.
Yeah, and the wizard when he first appears and he's
the big green head. He's terrifying.
Oh, great film. It's one of my wife's favourite films.
Is it? She's got good taste.
She has very good taste. Her others is Close Encounters.
I feel like I have seen it. I'm not really into aliens.
Right. It's a classic.
My boyfriend loves anything like spacey and aliens, and he's like conspiracy theories about aliens. He totally thinks they're real. I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, it's like them people who think that the Earth's flat.
Yeah, he's not one of those.
No, that's all right. But no, there's I've got a mate who thinks it's flat.
Seriously though, does he really, or is he like just pulling?
He really thinks, yeah.
But why?
I don't know. I've not sat down and talked to him about it, but he's mentioned it, and me and a few of us are just like, he's lost the plot. How can you think that the Earth's flat? And there's an ice wall around the Earth. What the hell? But anyways, I'm not gonna.
Like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's it. Not like Game of Thrones. It's insane. Why would you think that?
I have no clue.
And that every photo from space of a round Earth is a lie.
Oh.
It's CGI.
From space CGI.
Yeah, that's it. Anyways, moving away from flat Earth and all that. You worked with Lawrence R. Harvey a few times. Banjo, Mannequin, Eating Miss Campbell. Eating Miss Campbell's a great film. Thoroughly enjoyed that.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, when I first watched it, it was a while ago now. Because that's been out a little while now, hasn't it, that one?
As I think it was at Fright Fest a couple of years ago now. It's definitely one that if you're easily offended, don't watch.
Yeah.
And I love how like they get away with so much, or like they touch on really risky subjects. But I mean, I'm definitely not woke, and I feel like you should be able to say stuff.
Oh, completely. I had Graham Cole on recently, Tony Stamp from The Bill.
Mm-hmm.
He was the same, just I'm not woke, I'm a bit anti-woke.
The world's gone mad. People are offended by everything now. It's like they need to grow a thicker skin.
That's it. And he says, and he's right, it's spoiled the entertainment bit.
Comedy, because I mean, like Ricky Gervais, he gets away with a lot, and I think he's brilliant. But people get so offended by him. I think he's like really clever with what he does, but like a lot of people just won't be able to get away with stuff, or they wouldn't even try now, and it's ruining people that have sense of humor, ruining their fun.
That's it. Jimmy Carr's another.
Yeah.
Says what he wants. And there's a few American comedians who I watch, and they're the same. They just say what they want to say and don't care.
I know too many people worried about getting cancelled.
Yeah.
I don't like the cancel culture either. It's ridiculous. Unless somebody's done something really bad.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like people have lives, they make mistakes. They don't need to be cancelled unless it's, for a really good reason.
But the reason, if it's been like a murder or something to do with kids.
Exactly. Those reasons, then they should just get buried in a pit. But, for other stuff.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Or if it's been, something like the R word, which you can't say because of YouTube's algorithm, I'll get told off. But yeah, that's it. For telling a joke.
Yeah.
Or for doing something in a film, it's, you know what I mean? And they tried to cancel everybody. I mean, they tried to cancel Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool and Wolverine because of the stuff that was coming out in that.
I've noticed recently they've been trying to cancel his wife, and I didn't really read into it. I don't know why, but it seems silly.
Yeah, something to do with some interviews she'd done. She was a bit, I don't know, stuck up or something. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I'm not gonna comment. I do know they were trying to cancel Deadpool and Wolverine for some of the jokes in that. I'm like, it's not that bad. It's a funny film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fun. But yeah, the Woke Brigade's a bit too much. And that's why I try and do the podcast as it's un-PC, fucking swear. I don't care. And Graham Cole he kind of went off on one, which was nice to hear, to be fair. Because, yeah, that definitely good for him. And I agreed with everything he said. But so, as we were saying about Lawrence, are there any kind of co-stars you'd love to work with again?
I'd love to work with Lawrence again, and I'm sure I will. I feel like we keep crossing paths. So yeah, he's always super fun to work with. And he's got a really good range. I think people kind of, for a while he was doing like similar things, playing like creepy, but then there's a bit in, I think it's Eating Miss Campbell, or I don't know, where he's like super funny. Is it Eating Miss Campbell? Or maybe it is Video Shop. I'm not sure. There's something where he does and he's really funny. Video Shop.
Yeah, it's funny in that.
Yeah.
I love Video Shop tells Cheddar.
Really random, isn't it? It's like such a mix.
Yeah, and you're great in it because you're
I'm a bit overexposed in it because I'm in everything, but I'm not in the second one as much.
Right. No, I thought you were great being in everything. I thought you were
oh, good.
you were the thing that tied everything together nicely. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the second one, we've already filmed like the wraparound stuff. So we've already shot the horror hosting stuff, and I think the wraparound bit has been shot. But I think just in one of the segments. I think I'm going to be in one of the segments. I think it's Alex Churchill's segment, so it's his film segment, which is what I think I'm filming. I haven't seen the script yet. It's what I think I'm going to film later this month, but I actually don't know. But I think it's like the last segment to be filmed. So then that one can get like packaged together. Because I'm sure they've been editing as they go along. So a lot of it's probably already there. And then on to the third, which I don't know if I'm supposed to say, but I may be directing these for the third. Maybe.
Well, I've been plugging the first every time there's a little advert comes up when it's wherever it's been shown, whether it be Tubi or Amazon Prime or wherever. And I'd say it's going to be my first film of October. This evening I decided, just as it was today, I was like, what should I watch? And I went, talking to Danny, it's got to be Video Shop Tells a Tale.
It's got a great 80s vibe, and I think they just released the soundtrack to it, and it's great. It's like really like electro, reminds me of like computer games. The soundtrack, there's a lot of like that kind of 80s sound. It's a really cool soundtrack.
But it's such a fun film. My favourite is Mary Whitehouse, You're a Cunt.
It is really good.
That's my favourite a lot because I'm a big Evil Dead fan.
Right.
was just like like a little spin-off from The Evil Dead, which
Yeah,
I thought was wonderful, and the effects and everything were absolutely
was
fantastic.
well done. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great crack. I there was only one you weren't in,
I
and that,
was in is it Red Lipped Moon? Is that was it?
yeah, that was the
Yeah,
one.
that one. And the Mary Whitehouse one that was just a little cameo. They used a little bit of me on screen.
That's right. That's right. But it just tied it all in nicely. Like, it was like Spot Danny in the films. you
He
know,
as me when I was a cat.
but yeah, it's such a great thing. Is there any other actors you've not worked with you'd love to work with?
Oh my God, I'm sure there's many. I mean, I'd love to work with some of the Hammer ladies like Caroline Monroe or Martine Bezek. Pauline Peart, I feel like we've done bits in Tony Martin's Witches of Sand. We've been in certain bits together, but we haven't had like a proper scene together. So I'd love to work with her. And I think in Tom Lee Rutter's film, is it Tom's? I get so mixed up with Video Shop now as to who's is it Tom's? It's in the no, it's Pocket Film of Superstitions where she plays the fortune teller, and I kind of turn into like my character sort of turns into her screaming. So we've had that, but obviously we weren't on set together. But I basically turn into her, or she's like harnessing my ghostly energies. But we didn't actually get to do the scene together.
Oh well, it's again like Caroline Monroe in the
Yeah.
same film. A little bit of a crossover, but not quite. What about directors? Is there any directors who are knocking about at the moment who you'd love to work with?
Well, like I'd love to work with Tim Burton if he ever does Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
I believe it possibly is.
Well, I feel like he's not. He's saying no, isn't he? At the moment, he's saying he's not. But I feel like by calling the second one Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, you'd think, well, there's obviously going to be a third, isn't there? It's like you're going to say times, but then someone said if you put the first one and the second one together, it's three times, isn't it? And I'm like, well, yes. So I don't know. Apparently he's against it, but I'm sure if they offer him millions, he'll say yes. Like, why wouldn't you say yes? Like, hasn't it been the highest grossing film so far this year or something? I
There
don't.
you go. There you go. I mean, I've not seen it yet myself, but I do
Have you
enjoy
not seen it?
it. We planned, we were all going to go and see, we are going to take a daughter, and then I broke my ankle.
Oh, can you not get wheeled in?
I can't when it's my birthday, the lads are going to have to kind of carry us out of the room
Uh,
to get me to my stair lift, to get me downstairs,
yeah,
and kind of carry me to the front door to get into my wheelchair.
yeah.
Then to
But the thing is, these days things are released so quickly. It will be on Blu-ray before you know it, or on demand. I love it. It's had really weird mixed reviews, and some people have hated it. And I don't know what they were expecting from a Beetlejuice sequel, but I think it's everything that you wanted. It was brilliant.
got all the elements that you loved in the first one.
Yeah, it's like the only thing I didn't like, and like I think this has been commonly posted, is the guy who did get cancelled for a good reason of getting cancelled, the one who played the dad. They have like a cartoony version of him, and I don't know why they had to cartoon of his face. They should have just got rid of his head like earlier, and just because I just don't think they needed to have him in it, like his likeness at all. That's the only thing I thought was a bit in bad taste, but otherwise I thought it was perfect.
I was wondering where Gina Davis and that Adam Baldwin's
Well,
character.
because they've aged, and ghosts don't age, so they couldn't really be in it.
I suppose.
And their
Yeah,
story's kind of done. They're like they
yeah.
kind of. I think they were trying to like younger audience with Jenna Ortega and like a younger cast.
I mean, let's be honest. General Ortega at the moment's excellent in everything she's been
She's
doing.
like new Christina Ricci, isn't it? With like Winona Ryder, Christina Ricci. Now she's like the Burton girl.
That's it. The goth girl of the and Wednesday, obviously.
But she really loves film as well. I've been watching interviews with her, and she seems like really clued up on films and stuff. And she is a film fan as well, which is really cool.
She seems to enjoy her darker material as well. I've not watched that new one she did with Martin Freeman, The Miller's Girl. I think it's. I've seen it knocking about, but I've not watched it. But yeah, Beetlejuice. It'll be out soon, so I'll get to watch it. I mean, the first one, I can still remember going to the cinema to see the first one. You know what I mean? Back in the day, I was 13 and it was a 15,
Yeah.
but I got in because I was top.
I didn't watch it obviously then I was too young, but I've watched it. I've watched it a million times now. I've made up for it.
Well, that's it. My wife showed it to my daughter when I was in hospital, and my daughter loved it.
It's great that like people watching it for the first time like it now, like years later, that it's not because I mean it's not really dated because it was kind of not really the norm back then either, was it? It was like its own.
It wasn't, and that I think that's what makes it so watchable still to this day because it it's kind of out of time in a way.
Yeah.
But it's a great film, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Beetlejuice. And I see that you'd obviously you've done a little bit of a Beetlejuice photo.
Yeah, I bought a dress. It was only from Primark. The designer of Beetlejuice had this little capsule collection in Primark. And so my boyfriend bought me the dress and I was like, oh, what can I do with this? And I just shot it in here but I just had a green and a purple light on. That was it. That was like, you don't need to do anything else to the picture. That's all it needed.
No, it looks great. Um, but yeah, and I've got to ask, you were a licensed croupier.
Well, I was. I mean, I can't count or anything. I worked for an online casino, two different. So you had to know how to deal blackjack, baccarat, and like do roulette. But I didn't have to deal with the chips or any of the money. So when you swipe the card, it has like a barcode, and that would swipe on the screen. It would add up the cards for me. Like I couldn't do any of that stuff. I can't on maths, but I had to know how to deal the cards and play the game. And we had to have a license. You had to be licensed to be able to do it. But I mean, I'm not now. That license, I couldn't work it, because I have.
I would have some like stories of working in some like backroom card game with strange looking gangsters down in London.
No, room full of like tables and then with TV screens in front of you. So you'd have the game obviously on the screen. When you had a player, the game would like start. So you deal the cards, and it's basically like you have studios, but all the different casinos can basically use table, but people place the bets through the different casinos. But it's live, so you've always got a leader, but the bet's going through different casinos, and you can be screening on like 5 different ones at the same time. But when you didn't have a player, you'd just be sitting there. You'd have to like stay awake, staring at the screen, and like it's really hard. I find it really hard to stay awake anyway. I'm always napping, so they'd put on stuff on YouTube, and it was like always. So it would just kick in when you don't have a player. And my favorites was always like people getting injured because they're doing stupid things, or when like a kid's like picking on an animal, then an animal just like knocks a kid off a table or something. And I like this is great. It's great entertainment. So animals taking out kids and people getting stupid injuries, but like because they're doing something stupid, and it's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? So yeah, that used to keep us entertained.
I've got to say, you've had an incredible career so far, and there's still so much for you to do. And you've got plans.
Plans, yes. I'm full of ideas. I've always got ideas. Whether they ever come off is another thing. But I have ideas. I'd love to do more presenting, but I'd love to do like some kind of ghosty, haunty stuff, not like a ghost hunting show, something maybe like haunted hikes or something, so I can incorporate areas that got haunted histories with a hike. I don't know. I think that would be quite cool.
The best thing is just do it on YouTube because you just never know.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. But then it's like a lot of work, isn't it? I'd be editing it all myself. So I could do it, but it's just is it time consuming? And am I gonna get people to watch it on YouTube? I don't know.
I think you would.
Do you?
Yeah, definitely. You've got to be. You honestly, God, if you've got an idea in your head that you think might work, you've got to give it a go.
Yeah, that's true.
And YouTube, it'll either, take off or just sit. It might just nicely, you've got a steady little incline on your subscription ship?
Yeah, I mean, I've got time on my hands now. Like now that I've kind of settled a little bit, I do have time to do stuff. So I've got like my holistic business that I want to set up in the Northeast. I'm going to be doing so I've got Stardust by Dani on Instagram and Sea Witch by Dani, and it's going to be sea glass jewelry and crystal jewelry that's all going to be Reiki infused, and I'm going to take it all to the beach and kind of bury it in the sand for a little bit. So it's going to be like infused the energies of the sea and the beach as well. So that's all like just a little thing I can be, doing while I'm up here because I'm far away from. I feel like moving up here, I'm quite far away from like the hub in London now. But I used to be building big film studios in Sunderland, so that could be quite good for me up here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm the other end of the spectrum over in Carlisle.
Yeah.
And it is.
Like, have you got a beach? Are you like literally on? You're like the opposite side of the country to me.
We're not completely on the coast.
Right.
You can get, a couple of miles, and there's you can get to, like the Solway coast, and you've got beaches and.
So what's it near? What's Carlisle near that I've heard of? Like,
well,
so you're above Manchester.
Yeah, we're above Manchester. We're just before Scotland. 10 miles from Scotland. Carlisle, we've got a castle. We've got a cathedral. Mary Queen of Scots spent time in Carlisle Castle before she was executed. That's where they held her. We've got a football team.
I've heard of them.
Which is
Hadrian's Wall goes from, is it like, does it go to Carlisle?
It goes, yeah, well, it goes kind of quite near.
Yeah, so I watched this Robson Green. These are the kinds of things I watch on board. Robson Green walking the wall basically, and he walks. I think it's Wallsend to like wherever it finishes. So I'm like, oh, we could do that. That could take like 3 days. We could walk that. So I might do that next summer. I might walk across.
I know loads of folk who've done the Hadrian's Walk, and it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, just have to get nice weather, which we didn't have this summer at all, really.
No, we're the capital of Cumbria.
Right.
And we've got the Lake District on our doorstep.
Okay, so I've climbed Scarfell. That's in the Lake District.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're talking an hour and you're in the middle of the Lake District.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people come to Carlisle because it's got a few shops and things like that. It used to be a lot busier, like everywhere, I suppose. And they're trying to change things. We're getting the university built in the town centre at the moment, and they're changing the whole town centre. But it's a lovely little city, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's a historic city. We've got a lovely museum, which is full of the history of Carlisle and things. Pardon?
I said I'm sold. I love a museum.
It's got a decent museum, and the cursed stone was kept there for a while. The other one that Scotland wanted back.
I don't know about this.
I can't remember the full details, but we had the cursed stone. Scotland wanted it back, and it was in Carlisle Museum.
Okay.
There's a lot of history because Carlisle's been in Scotland, and then the English took it back, and I think the Scots have taken it back, and so we've been one of those. So it is quite a historic place, to be fair.
Yeah, learning a lot about these little things because we were in the Scottish borders, so like I tried to do as many museums and bits and bobs and things I could do while I was there. So I learned a little bit about all of the English Scottish back and forth.
Yeah, but I know what you say about it's very far from the hub of everything. And I was saying to Alan Bryce about it. You know, I would have loved to have been down in London constantly doing what I'm doing because I would just have access to so many more people. Yeah,
I've only been back twice since I moved, so that's just over a year. I've only been back twice. I think I was back for Darker, so Alan's show and Horror on Sea. So that's the thing. I thought I'd go back loads, and then I'm like, well, I don't really need to unless I'm working there. I don't see the point in me going.
And how much cheaper is it? up north.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
I mean, you'll have been surprised at the house price as well.
House prices, yes, but like drinks prices and things, I'm like, I don't feel like a massive difference. Depends where you go.
Well, it depends where you go. But
Yeah.
food and everything like that, and it is all a lot cheaper. And
I just don't have to do like I'm the tube. I'm not getting the tube everywhere. It's expensive. I drive everywhere that I need to be here. I don't need to go very far. Like I can walk to the beach and I can walk to the town. So
that's all you want, as long as you can walk to the beach and chill out.
exactly. But although we didn't have much beach weather, so I didn't go that much this summer. I think I got in the sea once out of the whole summer.
And I bet it was a bit cold.
It was cold twice actually. I got in twice.
I can imagine it being a bit nippy, that northeastern sea. Which sea is it other than the northeast?
It's the North Sea.
It's North Sea, yeah.
Yeah. But it's the North Sea where I was in Norfolk as well. And I feel like it is warmer there. The North Sea here is colder.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. But I mean, you've got there is quite a lot up this neck of the woods. I mean, Newcastle won't be too far from you either.
I actually just saw today on Instagram that there is a horror, like a Halloween shop opening next week in Newcastle. So on Saturday, actually. So I think I'm going to go.
That sounds good.
I don't know if it's going to be around Halloween shop though, or whether they're going to then do Christmas and whatever. I feel like it should just be around Halloween shop.
Yeah, all round. Yeah, definitely Halloween and horror shop.
There is a horror cafe actually called the Rested Ghoul that's opened just near Newcastle, and that's really cool. So they're trying to do like a lot more horror events and things in there. So I feel like wherever I move to, things start happening, and it's nothing to do with just like, oh, horror's followed, things are happening.
Horror is one of those genres that is always profitable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People always want to see horror films, and you know what I mean. When we screen a film, the most popular films we screen are always the horror films.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, I've got Dawn of the Dead for my birthday, which is a private party.
Mm-hmm.
But where I do my screenings at, they've said, "Are you putting anything on this Halloween?" I went, "Well, no, because I'm doing my birthday."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it private, your birthday? I went, "Yeah." I told you that. Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, can you screen us something? So I was like, oh man, this is kind of short notice. So I was just sitting the other night and I thought, what can I screen? What can I screen? And I went, it's my 50th year. And my two favourite films are Dawn of the Dead and The Evil Dead. So I'm screening The Evil Dead again. I've already screened it once, 7 years ago. So get it screened again. It's got to be done.
Yeah. What the new one?
Pardon?
What did you think of the new Evil Dead?
I enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't see why it got a bit of hate, and I couldn't see it.
No.
I thought great addition. It brought all three books into play, so it opened up the universe a lot more. So it made them that they were all in the same universe.
Mm.
And I think there's going to be an anthology series concerning the books as well. And there was an episode of the Creepshow TV series, which was a Evil Dead spin-off.
Right.
Quite good. But the new Evil Dead I thought was excellent.
Mm.
Looking forward to see what they do next with it, because obviously the evils escaped.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be interesting to see what they do next. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I don't know if it was a premiere or just a screening of it in London. But I drank a lot of wine. So I was like, I liked it, but I couldn't tell you much of what went on because I think I was a bit like, I'm a bit drunk now. It was free wine. They kept topping up your glasses. But no, it was good. It was good.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Me and the lads went to the cinema. The lads who were doing the normal podcast with, they all went to the cinema with us and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mm.
Enjoyed it. I think I've watched it about 4 or 5 times since release.
Well, you must have liked it then if you watched it that many times.
Well, it was one of my films of last year.
Mm.
So Video Shop Tales of Terror was definitely in good company. I mean, some of the films that were in last year's top 12 films of the year were absolute belters, because the other lads obviously picked as well.
Mm.
But I had to, and Video Shop was one of the last films I watched of the year.
Right.
So it just kind of scraped in because I hadn't seen it, and I got my Blu-ray, and it just scraped in from the Blu-ray, and it was fantastic. But I think we've covered everything without us getting too bored and just chatting absolute.
That's my tummy. Can you hear that?
I've
had lunch too.
Funny, and his tummy on the podcast.
That was like a real horror sound. That
was an extra treat for you. So if you're listening to this on your headphones and you hear a guttural rumbling, it was Dani.
I did it earlier as well, but you were talking. I was like, maybe he won't hear.
Maybe he won't hear. He's talking. Maybe he won't hear. But no, Dani, thank you so much for being on. Stick around after we've signed off, and I'll have a quick natter with you. As always, Dani, it's a pleasure chatting to you, and I'm sure we'll be chatting because I'm probably going to be doing a Video Shop Tales of Terror 2 podcast.
Yeah.
And Sings said he's going to come on this time.
Oh yeah, he jilted us last time, didn't he?
At the last minute, he said, but he did say he'd come on the next one.
I think you have to, like, as a forfeit, he's got to do one by himself.
Oh, well, I've offered him that up so many times over the years, and he's like, yeah, we'll sort of time out, and he's very,
he's
like,
elusive, isn't he?
He is. He's like the scout. We seek him here, we seek him there.
Yeah.
Loud and everything. But yeah, he's cracking bloke. I got to thank you off him to help him push the film, which was nice. I just, you get behind a film that you enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, he came on board for Hunger, and he actually took charge of the London part. So, because I'd moved, I was like, well, I'd like to shoot up here. So I got Kamal, the DOP, I got him to come up, but everybody else was local cast. But I was like, I need some external scenes of, like, and I don't know that many people here.
Yeah.
Like, the horror on sea crowd might be up for it, and Lal actually took charge of that, and he organised all of the little external bits down south.
Oh, that was nice of him. He's a top bloke, I've got to say, and we'll have to get him on the podcast. It's the only way. But no, thank you so much, Dani. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on again. And as I say, I'm sure we'll speak to you again soon. And probably on again after that. Who knows? I like having the same people back because I think you build up a rapport. So each interview gets easier and easier. And I felt this was quite an easy interview. Some of them I'm absolutely bagging myself, depending on who I'm talking to. But this has been a very easy interview, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So I'll say goodbye from myself, and I'll say goodbye from Dani. This has been the Carlisle Cult Cinema Club Presents. And enjoy, folks. Thank you, Dani.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Dani Thompson, and you are watching the Carlisle Cult Cinema Club. Please head over to our Facebook page and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel.